Good morning. Welcome. Time in His Word. The other day I talked about how we need to pray for our church leaders, how we need to pray for our leaders in general. And I commented some about the heavy burden that they carry as a leader, especially the minister of a church, the elders who have to lead the church spiritually, and that we should always lift them up in prayer and pray for them to have wisdom and be able to follow our Heavenly Father in such a way as to be able to lead the flock how they need to be led. But always remember that it's not leadership in the church. It's not where you put your finger on people and lead by force, but more so something that you lead by example. And when you do need to correct or that, you just kind of tap it a little bit here or there and get everything back on course. One of the verses in the Bible that really, to me, carries a lot of weight, especially if you're thinking about going into the ministry, or even if you're in ministry. It's a verse that we need to look at often and really pay attention to what it says, because it's a very powerful verse, and it explains some of the responsibility that church leadership has and how they will be judged as church leaders. So when men are approached about being leaders in the church, it's some of them are prepared for it and readily accept. Others are not quite sure if they're ready to step into that role, and they are a little bit hesitant. Some of them say, well, I'm not worthy to do that. And it's a role that has a huge burden and a huge responsibility, because basically as a church leader, you are responsible for the spiritual life of the flock. And that's a huge responsibility, and it's one that's not to be taken lightly. And I know sometimes in the past, when I've been approached about doing things in leadership, I always ask for at least a week to think about it, to pray about it, to really meditate on it, because of the responsibility that holds, and especially with what this verse I'm fixing to read implies. And the verse I'm looking at is in James, the 3rd chapter, the first verse, and it says this: "Let not many of you become teachers, my brethren, knowing that as such we will incur a stricter judgment. For we all stumble in many ways. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body as well." I've been struggling with a decision to make. I've made the decision. I'll be sharing that outcome here and probably Thursday morning on Thursday morning's post, or I might even post it later tomorrow. But I've had to wait a couple days before this class starts that I'm fixing to take, and I'm back to that, wondering if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm wondering if I'm being led to go this way. But then I think about everything I've been doing over the years, and I'm already there. It's just a matter of making the next step and becoming quote unquote official at it. But like I said, I'll share that with you later. But what I'm getting at this morning is that anyone listening today, if you've been approached about being in leadership in the church body, really give it a prayer, really give it thought. Go to the elders, go to the minister and speak to them about it. Tell them your concerns. Have them share this verse. Talk about this verse, what it implies, and realize that leadership in the church is not an easy thing. It's a very difficult thing. And we have to make sure we're doing it for the right reasons, and not just to say, when you're in conversation, well, I'm the preacher at this church, or I'm the elder at this church. No, that's not the right reason. It's to me, it's a position that you don't boast about, you don't brag about. You let your actions speak for you. So if you're struggling with that today, maybe you're approached to be a Sunday school teacher or lead youth leadership. I mean, you lead the youth in your church. I'll get it spit out. And you're struggling with whether to accept that position or not. Pray about it. A lot of times church leadership wouldn't approach you about doing something like that if they didn't feel in their hearts that you were the right person for that position. But it still comes down to you, the individual, and how you feel and how you want to serve the Lord. Because I can tell you the times that I've been in leadership, while it is difficult, it has been very rewarding. And I only do it for a short time, and then I don't do it for a while because the responsibility is so huge. But enough of that. If you're struggling with a decision that you're thinking about making, getting into church leadership, read James 3:1. Meditate on it. Talk with your minister. Talk with your elders. But in the end, pray about it. And if you feel led to do it, step forward and share what God has given you the knowledge of and understanding of, because evidently you have something unique to offer in that role, or the church leadership wouldn't have approached you to be part of leadership.